Welcome to this episode of The Martial Truth, Mysteries and Secrets. Before we get started, I want to make an announcement. I've added a membership feature to the channel. It's a $2.99 a month membership. The focus of the membership will be instructional. So I will be posting instructional videos and all the different arts I teach, a heavy emphasis on self-defense. But also all the various arts. I also hope to, with the members, do some live workshops and also some live podcasts where I sit here and answer. You can ask questions and I answer them. So, I tried to keep it very reasonable, $2.99. I'm putting a lot of work in. I've already got some of the instructional videos up on there, but I'll be adding a bunch early on. And then once I get into a rhythm and we have a bunch of them up there, I'll probably go to dropping like one a week, okay, maybe more, depending on how I'm feeling, and go from there. So I'll hope you consider becoming a member, and if you have suggestions of other things you'd like to see that I could do for the members, I'd be glad to hear it. All right, so without further ado, let's talk about secrets and mysteries in the martial arts. So I was either a brown belt or maybe I just turned black belt. And at the time, Oyata Sensei had kind of hit the scene, Sei Oyata. And he was doing these touch knockouts, right, where he looks like he barely touched you and he knocked you out. So he's going to do a demonstration out at this karate tournament out in Long Island. So I go out with my then girlfriend, now wife, and one of my students. We go out to watch. And initially he demonstrates with two of his guys. And one of the guys was George Dillman. And people say, well, how do you know it was George Dillman? Well, because he had his name in big block letters across the back of his gi, Dillman. Okay? So initially he's demonstrating with them and he's doing these hits to the side of the neck. And, George Dillman especially is going into all spasms and falling down and, getting back up. And he's doing all these different techniques. So, okay, right? So then the person who was running the tournament and was also hosting Oyata Sensei, I think for seminars maybe, said, if anyone doesn't believe the master can do this, you can sign a waiver and the master will demonstrate it on you. So Nishinru Black Belt stood up and said, I'll sign the waiver. All right, well, you'll have to sign the waiver because if the master, kills you, the guy's like, all right, I'm good with it. I'll sign the waiver. So now it went from a interesting demo. Now this is going to be great because now we're going to see this actually happen. So needless to say, young Ishinru Black Belt stands there. Oyata Sensei kind of sizes him up. And then he comes from down by his side of his body. He comes up and hits the guy in the side of his neck with these two fingers as hard as he can. And the guy literally, his whole body snaps like this when he gets hit. And he comes back and he goes like this. And he stands there and looks at him. So, didn't work. Okay? So now he's going to try it again. Now Oyata Sensei turns to the people behind him and talks to them and swings, comes back and sneaks the guy and hits him in the side of the neck as hard as he can. The guy's neck snaps, he loses his balance, he comes back, he goes like this, nothing. Then the host starts making excuses. Oh, the master's tired, he just flew in. Okay, whatever. Now, I'm sure if some of the Oyata people watch this, they'll get all mad at me. Feel free. I was there. I saw it. Okay? So, I saw it right in front of my eyes. All right? This idea of touch knockouts or knocking people out with two fingers and all this stuff, yeah, maybe that works when the guy just stands in front of you. But when you've got a guy that's 250 pounds and he's coming at you like a railroad, like a freight train, okay? The only thing that's going to stop him is your superior violence. So your violence better be better than his. if you're going to think you're going to do these magic pressure point knockouts in the heat of combat, I don't think so. All right. And anyone that says, oh yeah, you know, we pressure tested it, we went into bars, we got into bar fights, like I heard one of Dillman's guys say at a demonstration I was at years later, which immediately made me think of, is this guy kidding me? So you're a martial artist and you're going into bars to start trouble? So these so-called secret techniques, all right, you know, I'm just not buying it. Now, just so you know, in Koru, in the ancient arts in Japan, they have what's called okuden, secret teachings. I'm studying Sosui Shido Jiu-Jitsu, Koshin no Mowari, and in the Koshin no Mowari aspect, the sword aspect, they have okuden. So I'm like, oh, the secret stuff. So I get to okuden, and Shitama Sensei in Fukuoka teaches me the okuden kata. And my initial reaction was, these are the secret teachings? So in some of the Koru, some of the secret teachings, the concepts are a little advanced, and a lot of the Koru, the secret teachings are simplified. So basically they're telling you, you know, keep it simple. So, and those schools are set up in a way where they may only, you have to reach a certain level to learn the next series of techniques. So when you hear the term like okuden and secret teachings, you think, ooh, but that's not really what it's about. It's about, you have to learn this level of techniques. Okay, now you've got those, so now we'll show you this level. Studying the Kotori Shinto, I can tell you the Kotori Shinto was like that. So there's kata that they demonstrate in public all the time, and then there's kata that they never demonstrate in public. And those are done within the dojo, and the senior people practice those forms. There's nothing secret about it. It's a requirement. You have to reach, you have to get through this part of the curriculum to get to that part of the curriculum, all right? But if I meet someone and they say, well, the art we do, we have secret kata, and, you know, we only teach those secret kata to special students. Okay, whatever, right? You know, I got to tell you, my eyes start to glaze over, all right? This idea of secrets and, you know, okay, let's do no-touch knockouts. Okay, so now you're telling me you're going to knock me out without touching me. Okay. Let me explain to you what's going on here. So years ago, I trained with Mikio Nishiuchi. In Nishiuchi, I trained with in Mariyoshi Kobuno. And let's just say Nishiuchi Sensei was not honest about certain things. We'll leave it at that. But Nishiuchi comes to my school to do a seminar, and he says to me, pops in a video cassette, and he says, I'm going to go to Japan, and I'm going to study breathing with this man. And he pops on a videotape of this guy called Nishino, right? And he shows me a videotape where people are running at this guy full force, and he goes like this, and the person throws themselves and goes flying. Then he's surrounded by 6 people, and he spins in place, and all 6 people throw themselves and go flying. And it's clear. They're bending their knees, and they're throwing themselves in the air. So I look at this, and I look at Nishiuchi Sensei, and I say, you believe this BS? He says, yes, Calandra Sensei. This is real. I said, this is BS. This is not real. He says, well, I'm going to go to Japan and study with him. I said, okay, you go to Japan and study with him. And when you come back, you come here and you stand in front of me, and I'm going to come at you as fast and as hard as I can. And if you can stop me without touching me and make me go flying by using your magic force bolt, okay, I'll divorce my wife, leave my kids, I'll move to Japan and study with this guy. But let me tell you what's going to happen. I told Nishiuchi, you're going to come, you're going to stand in front of me, and I'm going to come at you like a freight train. And you're going to try to do your magic chi stuff, right? And I'm going to lay you out. Lay you out, okay? So, feel free to believe all this stuff, okay? It's nonsense, all right? I study practical method Chen style, right? Taiji Chuan with Master Chen Zhanghua. And you know, some people see Master Chen do techniques on me, and that's fake. They say that's fake. And you know, for myself, I have to laugh, right? Because anybody that knows me knows my background in terms of the fact that I was a police officer 22 years, and you know, everything about me is real fighting. Why would I fake it for anybody? I just won't do it. So again, the problem is the fake stuff and the real stuff look similar. But if you know what to look for, you see it's kind of clear. The fake stuff, people bend their knees and throw themselves. The real stuff, you're standing there, and then the person who's getting thrown, they never even get a chance to bend their legs. They're just there 1 second, and the next second they're gone. Okay? So, but it's hard. It's sometimes hard to tell the difference. But, you know, the thing is with Master Chen, like we just had him here at the school in Arizona, and I had a 5th degree in Ishinryu karate here, and he'd never met Master Chen. And Master Chen lets everybody feel his ability. And at the end of the workshop, I asked the 5th degree black belt, I said, what'd you think? He says, I don't even know what I experienced. He says, that ability he's generating, I don't know. The power is unbelievable. He says it's impressive. I'm not sure what it is, but he's studying practical method now with me. So hopefully one day he'll get a little bit of it and he'll understand it a little bit better. So the one thing Master Chen Zhanghua never talks about is qi. Okay? He never uses qi as an excuse for anything. All the concepts are physical. Everything is alignment. Everything is body mechanics. Okay? There is no, well, the reason your technique isn't working is because your qi hasn't been developed yet. Okay? So going back to Nishiuchi, he went to Japan and he went and saw that guy. Now, I stopped being involved with Nishiuchi for other reasons, right? But I know someone that Nishiuchi came back from there and he went to dinner with them. And they asked him, well, how's it going training with Nishino Sensei? And he goes, I went to go at him and he tried to stop me and it didn't work. And he was explaining to me that my chi was dirty and that I had to cleanse my chi first before the techniques would be able to work on me. I studied with Hoshino Minoru, Qigong, and a little bit of Chen Taiji. He was the first person to introduce me to Chinese martial arts in Japan. And I asked him, I said, what's the deal with people like Nishino? And he said, first off, he said, you must be very careful of those people. He says, it's almost like they're hypnotists. So they put the suggestions in people that have weak minds. And eventually those people start to actually believe that they're feeling something. The other thing you have to realize is a lot of times they want to please who? They want to please the teacher. Well, the teacher says I should feel it. Oh, I think I'm starting to feel it. And now I'll throw myself, okay? I can tell you from being in a lot of real combat that the only thing that stops an opponent, a determined, angry opponent who wants to do you seriously physical harm, is you have to stop them physically. There's no magic force. There's no, I'm going to hit, pressure point 2, 3, and 8, and I'm going to put him to sleep. Yeah, when a guy's coming at you 1,000 miles an hour, good luck with that. As one of my students who's a Chinese medicine doctor told me, the acupuncture points, they're smaller than a dime. Okay? In heated combat, you're going to be able to hit this accurately? No. If you notice all these guys that do these pressure point knockouts, what's their demonstration person always doing? He's just standing there. Okay? Again, I saw a demo one time. Again, one of Dillman's students was demonstrating these knockouts. And he hit one of James DeMile's students. And James DeMile was an early student of Bruce Lee, Marine veteran, and his dojo was in a very, very tough part of California. So he hit DeMile's student in this point right here on the top of the forearm. We all know that this is not a place you want to get hit. And, he says, I'm going to hit you there and your knee's going to buckle. Okay, so first off, he's implanted the idea in the kid's head. And it was a young kid, right? Early 20s. So he hits him, the kid's knee buckle. Well, DeMile, jumps up and says, "Hey, buddy, don't you be hitting my students in any of those points. Okay? Don't be hitting my students." And the guy right away got nervous. "Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Mill, I won't do it anymore." And then he proceeded to knock out his brother-in-law, who was ever there, hitting him in the side of the neck, whatever. So the dirty little secret you don't hear about that stuff is a lot of those early Dillman students started developing growths in their neck. Because he's hitting them, and he's not hitting them easy, he's hitting them hard, okay? And, what happens is the body reacts to that, and the body says, "Oh my God, we've got to protect the jugular. It's getting hit." So it starts to build calcium around it and deposits. So it started getting lumps. Not healthy. So again, my thing is, why would you let someone hit you like that repeatedly? Like, what's the point? And I'm sure guys like George Dillman made $1 gazillion. I mean, but, meanwhile, he's been exposed for the fraud he is all over the place. But I'm sure there's plenty of people that still go to him and think he practically walks on water. Okay? You know what? Shame on you. These guys are nothing more than charlatans. They're the modern snake oil salesman. We have a lot of them in martial arts. They need to be avoided like the plague. All right? My opinion, someone like Seoyada had good karate. So I think this so-called pressure point stuff, these magic techniques he learned from two supposed bushi that no one can ever find any record of. There's no photos of these guys. No one knows anything about them, right? I think that was part of his shtick to draw people in. And it worked. He developed a big following. He still has a following. He's been dead several years, and people still, think he also walks on water. I asked Master Chen Zhonghua one time, I said, "Shifu, is there a supernatural element in the martial arts?" And his response to me was, yes, the supernatural element is people see guys like me and you, Mike, and we may do something that they can't comprehend that they would ever be able to do. So they go, "Oh my God, like that's supernatural." But like he said to me, "But we know we've been killing ourselves for over 45 years training. And we train hard to develop these physical skills. And when someone else can't do it, who hasn't put in that time, who hasn't put in those hours, who hasn't put in that energy, right? Who hasn't put the work in, training with partners, okay? Developing a skill set. They say, "Oh, well, I could never do that. That's like special. That's supernatural. That's beyond normal abilities." No, it's not. There's nothing special about me. I'm a product of hard work. So, nothing irks me more when people say to me, "Oh, you're a natural at this martial arts stuff. You pick it up so quick." I don't pick anything up quick. I learn something, I work at it. I work at it until I get good at it. All right? That's the key. So, if you're looking for mystery, and that's what you're really looking for, there's plenty of people and instructors out there who will be happy to indulge you in your fantasy world. Okay? There's plenty of them. Okay? Just understand, there's no magic. Okay? There's only hard work and serious effort. Okay? If you want to develop high skill, you have to practice and you have to get to the point where you have high skill. Sadly, most people in modern times, they want to take the easy way. That's why most people in modern martial arts, frankly, a lot of them are mediocre. All right? They're not mediocre because they can't reach those high levels. They're mediocre because they don't want to put the time in. They become content with where they are. And then a lot of them look for shortcuts. We live in a fast food society, right? In previous podcasts, I talked about the fact that how overweight a lot of martial arts are. Why? Well, because you get in your car, you drive to any McDonald's, any restaurant, you sit down, have a gazillion calories, you drive back home. If you were still hunting for your food, nobody would be fat. right? And it's the same thing. If you had to go out and prove your skills on the battlefield, like in days of old, all these charlatans would be exposed real quick. And there'd be no more charlatans because they'd all be dead. Okay? The magic no-touch knockouts, nonsense. The pressure point knockouts, nonsense. The magic chi powers that can propel someone across the room without touching them. This is nonsense. Okay? These are physical skills that if you want to develop to a high level, you've got to work at. You've got to work at, you know? I mean, I can't tell you how many people, like within, let's just say, Isshin Karate, I look at them, and, you know, they're moving the same way they did when they made Shodan. There's been no development since, right? There's no change in how they move. There's no change in their understanding of body mechanics. You know, during Master Chen's workshop here, I mentioned Master Chen was teaching something, one of the concepts for contraction expansion. And I leaned over to the Godan and Isshinryu and I said to him, this is Sanshin. So on a break he said to me, I don't understand why the Okinawan masters are keeping this secret. I said, they're not keeping it secret, they don't know it. And you know, that's what you need to understand. You have to find instructors that actually know it and can actually teach it. So if you think you're going to find an instructor that's going to teach you to magically go like this and repel someone with your Dragon Ball Z Powerball, it's not going to happen. You're spending a lot of time, wasting a lot of time. Time that you could be putting into learning an actual real skill that you get something out of. But like I said, if you choose to look for the mystery, and you choose to go down that path, that's fine. Just be careful because it's a dangerous path. It's, in essence, it's a cult. It's a cult-like mentality. You know, everybody believes that this teacher has these magic abilities. And like Nishino in Japan, he's become quite wealthy. He has a very large building in Tokyo, and people live there, and they pay him, and they give him almost all their money. And in essence, what is it? Oh, right, it's a cult, right? So I was warned by Hoshino Sensei in Japan that to avoid these people like the plague, because it's almost like they can hypnotize you. That's what he said to me. So he said it's best to stay away from them. So my advice is to seek out qualified instruction. Stop looking for mystery. Stop looking for magic. Stop looking for secrets. Okay? The secret is to work hard, apply yourself, and develop physical skill. I just want to mention one more time. I'm starting memberships up on the channel. It's $2.99 a month. I will be adding instructional videos all the time on all different topics. I'll cover a lot of self-defense techniques, how to generate power, you name it, we'll be covering it. I'll be going through all the systems in detail: Isshinryu Karate, Mariyoshi Kobudo, Sosui Shida Jiu-Jitsu, Chen Style Taijichuan Practical Method. You know, you will be able to actually, if you don't have access to a qualified instructor in those arts, you will be able to learn from these videos. Again, the memberships will also include, I'll be doing some live workshops, and I'll also be doing some live podcasts. Okay, and as we go forward, we may add some other things. We'll see how it goes. All right, so I hope you consider doing that. I put a lot of work into the channel. I put a lot of work into the videos, and it would help me a lot. All right, so hope you enjoyed this one. Okay, bit of a touchy subject for some people, but again, it's the martial truth. All right, so take care, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.